Hi, it's Ramesha here with Vocal Bliss. Today I would like to talk about vocal registers, what they are, and understand a little better how they work. And also, we're going to do a little exercise together so you can hopefully experience firsthand what it means to transition from your chest to your head. And this is very, very important in order to extend your range, but in a way that is not hard, it's not uncomfortable, and it's the natural way to do it without straining or damaging your vocal cords. But as usual, before we go into this, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future videos. So what are vocal registers and how do we use them? Understanding vocal registers and how they work is absolutely essential in order to develop a solid vocal technique and also in order to maintain your voice healthy throughout the years. So this is how they work. You've probably noticed that when you sing, you start from the lower part of your range and you go up and up and up, and at a certain point you reach a point where you can tell that tension starts to build up in your throat. Things become a little more uncomfortable. And at a certain point, it becomes so hard and the throat so tense that you understand that in order to continue, if you were to go higher, you basically have to almost yell, like you have to really push your voice in order to make it produce those higher notes that you want to sing. But this is definitely not very pleasant, and it's also not very good for your voice because you end up straining all the time. And every time you sing those notes, you go through this process of having to push. And it seems like maybe as you sing and you get used to it, it seems like it's not a big deal. Okay, I learn how to do it. I just get there and push. But if you do this year after year after year, after a certain time, the voice will just start to give you signs of a little, getting worse, and it's not really easy to recover. Maybe you get hoarse and it takes longer and longer to recover. Anyway, you get the idea. So something else needs to happen, and it's not going to be pushing and it's not going to be straining. So the reason why at a certain point things get uncomfortable is because you have reached the top of the first area of your range, which is called chest voice. So you reach that top notes in that area. And then in order to continue, you need to transition to another area of the range, which is called head voice. The lower area is called chest voice. The higher area is called head voice. And these are two different, they're called registers. So it's really like when you drive a stick shift car and you're in first gear and you speed up, at a certain point, the engine will be revving so high that in order to continue, in order to go faster, you can't continue to just speed up. Something else needs to happen. You need to scale to a higher gear, and then you're able to go faster. And then you go faster, and then you have to scale to another gear. Now, in singing, this also happens. Once you've reached that top area of your chest voice, which varies for different people, depending what kind of voice you have, it's really very individual. But at a certain point for everyone, you reach a point where things get difficult. And so the whole point, and one of the most important aspects of the singing technique, is to learn how to transition from your chest voice to your head voice. And as you learn to do it and you perfect this mechanism, the point is to learn to do it in a very, very seamless way, so that when you transition, you're not able to hear any difference or variation in the quality of your sound. later we're going to do an exercise together, and you'll probably notice, if this is the first time for you doing this, you'll probably notice that when you transition from chest to head, the head voice will probably sound not as full, not as strong, not as good, honestly, as your chest voice, because this is just the first phase. And the whole point of the singing technique is to learn to gradually improve the way you transition until, like I said, your head voice, even though is more relaxed and comfortable than pushing your chest voice, but you reach a point where your head voice is just as strong, if not stronger, than your chest voice. And this is the goal of most singers, to be able to do this, to have a range from the very bottom to the very top with no variation in the tone. The tone remains the same. It's not like when you sing low, you sound like one person, and when you sing high, you sound like a different person. It should always be the same tone quality. And this is what usually takes the longest time to develop in the singing technique. Not for everyone. Some people are lucky and they're born with the ability to do it better than others. I was not one of them. It took me a long time to learn this, but it was so worth it, because now, honestly, high notes are really easy, and it's really fun when you get to the point where singing high notes is very, very easy. Transitioning from chest to head voice is a process that involves different steps, which we'll go through together later when we do the exercise together. But I just want to mention that the number one most important sign of the fact that you have successfully transitioned from your chest to your head voice is that the head voice, meaning the higher notes that you're singing, should feel relaxed. If they don't feel relaxed, it means that you haven't transitioned to your head voice, or it could also mean that you have, but you're also at the same time holding on to some tension because you're not used to the process, and so it's hard to let go. It's a little bit like an analogy for life. We have a hard time letting go. We want to control everything. Well, in singing, this component of singing requires for you to let go. It's almost like a leap of faith. Just let go. But we'll see this in a moment when we do the exercise together. Okay, so here's an exercise that we will do together. We're just going to do it with for now. You can then work with the other vowels if you want on your own, but let's just do just one. And so what I want you to do, when you arrive at the top note, I want you to relax the throat and sing more softly, like this. Because if you sing loud, chances are, instead of transitioning to your head voice, you are going to push your chest voice. Now, the ladies probably will transition from the very beginning. The guys will transition a little bit later, and I will tell you when it's time, guys, I will tell you when it's time to look into that and try to really transition. So let's do this together. Let's start with the vowel a. Again. Remember to get lighter, softer, and more relaxed at the top. Okay, so you should feel that the top note is very relaxed and not tense. If you feel tension, you're not relaxing enough. Now, guys, you might feel that it's time for you to also transition if the top note is getting tense. So go ahead and do that. I'm trying to do it on purpose, very soft, and probably the way it will sound to you if you're doing this for the first time. Very thin and a little breathy, but that's fine. The most important thing right now is relaxation. So let's do just one or two more. And one more. Okay, so in the beginning it will sound like this. Like I said, don't expect a lot of sound. This is not about volume right now. Volume is the very last thing on your mind right now. Right now, focus on transitioning, singing those high notes in a relaxed way. Because then, once you're able to do that, then gradually you can work on developing your sound until it becomes a full sound. But right now, this is not the goal. And I did this only to show you what will happen later. But don't try to do this right away or you're going to hijack the whole thing. Okay? So follow this simple exercise. Get used to this mechanism of going from your chest, so your low range, to your head voice, your upper range, transitioning, trying to stay relaxed without pushing, without trying to be too loud. That will come later. And as you do this more and more, your muscles will get used to doing this work, and then gradually it will become easier. And then, it's very hard for me to give you pointers on what to do next because every voice is different. If I could hear you, if you were my student, I could tell you, okay, now do this, now better do that. So I suggest, this is just the beginning stage of this process, but if you want to then continue, I suggest you look for help. Some voice teacher, someone who can tell you by listening to you if you're doing something wrong or if you're doing it right. Okay, what's the right next step for you? Because every person's different. But this will at least give you a good beginning, and hopefully this will be helpful. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider, as usual, giving it thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.